what we were working on, everybody with us now, is that we had said this idea of using the Torah's container. And I gave you the example of more of a Sephardic container than just the Ashkenazic mantle. Okay. And they were making a parallel, okay, to the idea of flaying the skin off the animal for the Korban Pesach, and they're challenging this argument of whether there's really a comparison and using the two as parallel arguments, okay, to permit using the Torah container, okay. So I'm going to pick up sort of on the top of Kaf Yud Zayin. On 117a, that's where we stopped yesterday, where the rabbi, on the bottom of the previous Amud, Rabbi Ashi said there were two different arguments, both in regards to handling and the work, okay? And then they said to him, well, maybe it can be saved, there is this parallel. And then we said, Midami, on the top of Kaf Yud Zayin. Are they really comparable? Hatam ne'aseh basis l'davar hamutar. There, the container is really a kind of stand, a basis for something that's permitted. Okay? Hacha ne'aseh basis l'davar ha'asur. But here, in terms of the skinning of the animal, we're talking about something that is clearly going to be forbidden. Okay, so that was where we sort of left off. Okay, because the flesh and the animal can't be handled till the evening. Okay, Ela hachi ka'amrele, but rather this is what they said to him. Im matzilin tik shel sefer im hasefer. If we can save the Torah container, okay, because we're saving really the sefer, the Torah itself, va'afal pi sheyesh b'tocho ma'ot, even though it may have some coins inside it, lo netatel or agav basar, okay, shouldn't we therefore be able to also carry the skin, move the skin, since it's going to have the meat still attached in part of it, right? Because Rabbi Yochanan ben Baroka had said you only flay the skin about part of the way. Okay?
Are they talking about, Rabbi, they talk about actual money, cash?
Yeah.
In other words, the Torah scroll?
In other words, remember we said, think of a Sephardic case.
Yeah.
Okay? And they could have kept some money inside it. Sure, it would be a safe place.
And take it out before Shabbos, I mean, or?
Well, they didn't have a wall safe, Ted. Okay, so that was in place of the wall safe. You keep it inside the Torah mantle, and you keep that in the ark. It's a safe place, hopefully. Okay. Same way we try to keep tzedakah box, right? So maybe that was the idea. Maybe it was tzedakah money. I don't know, but that could be the example that I would share. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So but a good question. Midami, is it comparable? Again, the Gemara says, Hatam ne'aseh basis l'davar ha'asur u'ledavar hamutar. There, then that moving of the Torah case, both is something prohibited and something permitted. The prohibited is that you're carrying money on Shabbat, okay? The permitted is that you're saving this Torah scroll on Shabbat in case of the fire. Sorry. Here he says, Kulo ne'aseh basis l'davar ha'asur. But again, regarding the flaying of the skin of the Pesach sacrifice, okay, again, you're dealing something that's forbidden. So Gemara says, rather, Ella, hachi ka'amrele. This is what perhaps they said to him. Im v'in tik sheyesh b'tocho ma'ot ma'alma. Let's say we bring all we have is the scroll, okay, the Torah scroll, and we bring a container from elsewhere, okay, and we're going to put the scroll in that to save it from the fire. Lahatzil bo sefer Torah, in order to save the Torah scroll. Lo netatel or agav basar. Shall we not also be able to carry skin then here also in connection with the meat, right? Aren't they one and the same? And again, vehi gufa minalan. So the Gemara asks, wait a second. How do we know that it's even, this itself is problematic? How do we know that you could go take a Torah container, okay, that's empty, even if it has money in it, and bring that to go into the save the Torah scroll? Okay, so now we come on. Ilema de mehecha de itbe lo shade lahom. If we're going to say that we bring it and we discover that money is in this, so to speak, Torah container, lo shade lahom, shouldn't we just toss the money out on Shabbat before we bring it? Okay, to save the Torah scroll. Okay, so the Gemara says, Atuye nami maitina. Okay, therefore, and then we would come and bring it. But mi dami, can we say that this is, still permissible to bring the Torah container, right? Hatam adahachi, okay? Right, because here we're saying, right, what happens right there, in other words, where the Torah is in a position of potential burning, since that's the case, v'hachina flood peleka. And here we're concerned is that the Torah scroll might get burnt. So why tell them that they have to take the time to remove the money out of the Torah container before bringing the container in order to save for Torah? Hacha adahacha. But here we're talking about this situation. Okay? All right? Okay. Vahachi lishdinan. So again, says the Gemara, so why don't we say again that it can be thrown out in the meantime? Right? Ela amar mar, Rav Ashi. But Mar, the son of Rav Ashi, says, La'olam kida amrinan. It's as we said and explained it originally. Me'ikara, originally, with the kakashilach. Okay? And the fact that it was a problematic for you, that it was an argument. Hacha tiltu v'hacha malacha. Why? Because here in one case, we're talking about simply handling, carrying the Torah container, kigon delo kave le laor, okay? And here, okay, v'hacha malacha kigon delo kave le laor. And here we were talking about actual work, okay? Okay, because perhaps it's a situation where the individual wanted the meat from the Korban Pesach, but he had no reason to want the skin, okay? And so therefore, there is again a real difference. Okay. Now we go on, says the Gemara. Vaha Abai v'Rava da Amre Travaihu. But, says the Gemara, Abai and Rava, both of them said the following: Mode Rabbi Shimon b'psik reisha v'lo yamud. Okay, both of them argue that they accept the view of Rabbi Shimon. Okay, that the psik reisha, okay, v'lo yamud, that eventually In other words, it's a follow-up from one act that's going to cause another act to occur. And therefore, that's why he would be prohibited with the normal way of flaying the skin off the Korban Pesach, the Shakile bebarze. Why? Because what he did is he removes it by strips, okay? And therefore, he's not saving it, and therefore it's a different level of, if you will, malacha, and therefore that manner would be basically say, we could make the parallel to using the Torah container, okay, which would have coins in it, okay, in order to save a Torah scroll on Shabbat. Okay. All right, let's go on now to a new piece from our Mishnah. Where would you save it? Okay, where do you bring this Torah scroll in this container? Okay, Hechidami mefulash. Okay, so we asked the question at the outset. It said it had to be an open alley as opposed to a closed alley. We want to know ultimately what's the difference between the two, right? So the Gemara asks, Hechidami mefulash. What do we mean when we say it's open? Hechidami she'eino mefulash. And what is meant when we say that it is not open? Amar Rav Chisda. Says Rav Chisda as follows, okay? If we think of an alleyway, okay, that leads from along into a public thoroughfare, Reshut Rabbi, okay? What's the status of that alleyway? Okay, it's apparently would also be considered a Reshut Rabbi, okay? So do we have to make that alleyway into some kind of a Reshus HaYachid? So Amar Rav Chisda, Shalosh Mechitzot Ushnei Lachim. Okay, we need 3 boards, okay, 3 partitions, and 2 lechi, and 2 beams. Zehu mabui she'eino mefulash. Okay, that is an alleyway that is not considered open. Okay. All right. Shalosh mechitzot v'lechi echad. Okay. If it has 3 partitions and 1 beam, okay. Zehu mabui mefulash. That is an alleyway that is open. Travayu aliba de Rabbi Eliezer. And both of them hold, according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, okay, Ditznan, who taught, Hakasher b'mabui, in terms of to make a alley, let's call it viable, eligible, okay, in the sense that, okay, to make it something that one can carry in on Shabbat under certain circumstances, right? Okay, what is that, okay, the situation? Beit Shammai omrim lechi v'kora. Beit Shammai says it's sufficient to have 1 beam and 1 board on the side. Ubeit Hillel omrim o lechi o kora, that one needs only a beam across or a board on the side. Okay. Now, Rabbi Eliezer, however, says Omer shnei lechiyim, that you need 2 beams across. In other words, you're designating by putting that beam across the top of the alleyway, you're making it more like a doorpost, right? And therefore you're creating as if it is, since you do 1 at one end and 1 at another end, it's actually like you're creating it as a Reshus HaYachid, okay? Okay. So, Amar le Rava. Says Rava now. Coming back to this issue. Shlosha mechitzot v'lechi achad mefulash. Karidle. If we're using 3, let's say, boards and 1 beam, okay, this you're calling this open. Va'od, and furthermore, he questions. The Rabbanan, according to the rabbis, natzil letocho ochlinu mashkin. If that's the case, then if you're designating it as a reshus hayachid, we should be able to put food and drink in there. In other words, make it an erev tchumim. And that should be why all this business of boards and beams and things like that. If I stick some food there, isn't that going to be sufficient? Because that's what the erev tchumim does for us, right? It makes another location, okay, like our dwelling. Okay? Ela amar Rava. But says Rava the following: Shtei mechitzot u'shnei lechayim. Okay, 2 boards and 2 beams. Zehu mabui she'eino mefulash. That is an alleyway that is not open. Shtei mechitzot v'lechi echad. 2 boards and 1 beam. Okay, zehu mabui hamfulash. That is a open, alleyway. Travaihu aliba de Rabbi Yehuda. And both of them then went according to the view of Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya, who taught as follows: Yeter el kain. Okay, that Rabbi, it's even more than this, says Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda, Misha yeshlo shnei batim. Let's say that Rabbi Yehuda is telling us that somebody who has 2 homes, and those 2 homes are on, okay, b'shnei tzadei reshut rabim, okay, and those 2 homes, okay, are on either side of a public domain, okay, opposite one another, right? Oseh lechi mikan, the lechi mikan. That all he should have to do is put a beam across, above the Reshus HaRabim, between one house and the other house, okay, one lechi on one side, a lechi, a beam on the other side, and therefore he's as if he's created between the 2 houses a section that is now going to be considered a private domain, right? O Korah Mikan, the Korah Mikan. Or he could put up a board on one side and a board on another side. V'nosei v'notein be'emtza. And he can carry back and forth in between. Amrula. So they said to him, Ein ma'arvin reshut harabim b'chach. And they responded to Rabbi Yehuda that we cannot make an eruv, we cannot do this, okay, in terms of this method. Turn a street, right, a public wealth, public Reshus HaRabim. Amar le Abai, and Abai then says to him, Didach nami, okay, but even according to your view, right? That's what he says, L'Rabbanan, Natzil l'tocho ochlinu mashkin. If that's were the case, then the rabbis would say that there too, it should be sufficient simply to put, foodstuffs there. Okay, that would render either the 2 partitions or the 2 beams would render it acceptable as a Reshus HaYachid, okay, because the rabbis paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Let's go on. Ella rather says, Amar Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi says, Shalosh mechitzot v'lechi echad. No, we need 3 partitions. In other words, 3 boards. One side has 2 boards, one side another board, and 1 lechi. All right? 1 beam across. Zema bui she'eno mefulash. That is an alleyway that is not open. Shalosh mechitzot below lechi, and 3 partitions without a beam. Zehu mabui hamfulash. That is an open alleyway. Va'afilu l'Rabbi Eliezer, and even according to Rabbi Eliezer, the Amar Ba'inun Lachiyim, who says that we need multiple beams, right? 2 lechis. Hanimili la'ochlin umashki. There he says that's a situation where we want to designate that area as viable for a Erev Tchumim, okay, to put food and drink there. Aval the Sefer Torah, but in order to bring the Sefer Torah and save it from the fire, okay, and bring it out into the alleyway, Bechad Lechi Sagi. Only 1 Lechi is sufficient in that case to carry the Torah into that area, alleyway. All right, we'll stop.
If that wasn't sufficient, you wouldn't carry the Torah out of the burning building?
No, if it weren't, if in other words, if you didn't have, since our Mishnah said, right, went back and said the whole question of what was open and what was closed, right, because there was this disagreement between Tanakama, who said you could bring it, okay, into a closed alleyway, right? But Ben Batera said, okay, you could even bring it into an open alleyway. So that was why they had needed to discuss that difference. Okay, so
okay.
Right. So the implication being is that we don't have by Rav Ashi deciding here, is saying in essence that while it would not be an adequate area to be considered a separate domain, okay, a private domain, okay, for Erev Tchumim, it is private enough, so to speak, to be able to save the Sefer Torah. Okay, okay, our new Mishnah. Okay, now we have to look at this new Mishnah with the following idea. Let's assume for a moment that someone, unfortunately, has a fire in their house, okay, in their apartment, but in their house in Israel, in this time of the rabbis, and it occurs on Friday night. Okay, it's already, okay, and what's the situation? Okay, so what can they save, right? Matnitin, our Mishnah teaches, Matzilin mazon shalosh seudot, that he can save and pull from his home enough foodstuffs to provide for his 3 Shabbos meals. Hara'ui la'adam, but they must be foodstuff appropriate for a person. La'adam. Hara'ui lebehema, lebehema. And if he's trying to save food for his animals, it must be foodstuff appropriate for an animal. Okay, because remember, we're told that ideally one should feed their animal before they sit down to eat their own meal. Ketzad, what do we mean by that, says the Mishnah? Nafla dleika b'leilei Shabbat. Say that the fire occurs on Friday night, right? Matzilin mazon shalosh seudot, right? He may save enough foodstuffs for 3 Shabbos meals. B'shachrit, if it occurred in the morning, right? Shabbos morning, matzilin mazon shnei seudot. He can save foodstuffs for 2 Shabbos meals. B'mincha, if it were to occur in the early afternoon, mazon seuda achat, enough food for a single Shabbos meal. This is all Tanakama. Rabbi Yossi Omer, says Rabbi Yossi, Le'olam matzilin mazon shalosh seudot. That a person, says Rabbi Yossi, can at any time or at all times save enough food for 3 meals. Okay. Now we're going to see, okay, that's regardless of when the fire breaks out. Okay. Now, Gemara, Michte, since we're talking behetera katarach, okay, that certainly we're talking about that there is significant effort, labor on his part, which is permitted, not sealed fei. Why don't we let him save more? Amar Rava, says Rava, mitoch she'adam bahul al mamamano. Why? Because a person is, he's fahitzt, he's excited, okay, in regards to his property. Isharible, if we permitted him to do more, atele kebuye, he might try to even extinguish the fire. Amarle Abai, and Abai responds to Rava, Ella rather, ha detanya, but here it's taught that this situation, nishbara lo chavit berosh hagago, if a situation is such, says Abai, that he has a barrel of, let's say, wine or oil or something else that is in this barrel stored on the roof of his house, right? And the barrel breaks, okay? Mevi kli umaniach tachteha. He may bring a utensil and put it underneath in order to try to save the contents of the barrel. Bilvad shelo yavi kli acher vayiklot. So long as he doesn't bring an additional utensil in order to gather it up. So the Gemara then says, Kli acher v'yitzaref. Okay, all right. So that he asks a question in the following: okay, to hold it up. In other words, to gather it up. Hatam my gzera ika. Okay. Okay, what preventive, what gezerah, what measure has been enacted to prevent this? Hachanami, gezerah shema yavi kli derech reshut harabi. But we do have a decree, says the Gemara, where to prevent the person from going to get a utensil from the public domain or carrying it through the public domain in order to bring it into his house up to the attic, up to the roof, right? Now, Gufa. Let's come back to our main text and examine this situation. Nishbaralo chavit berosh gago. We said that if a barrel, okay, were to break and it's on the top of his roof, mevi kli umaniach tachteha. He may bring a utensil and put it underneath. Bevad shelo yavi kli acher vayiklot. So long as he doesn't bring an additional utensil in order to absorb it, to gather it up. Kli acher v'yitzaref, or bring another utensil in order to catch it, to gather it. Right? Nizdamein lo orchim. However, the Braita tells us if he has guests coming, mevi kli acher v'kolet, then he may bring another utensil and gather it up. Kli acher u'mitzaref, or another utensil to collect it. V'lo yiklot v'achar kach yazmin, but he can't collect it and then afterwards invite guests. Ela yazmin v'achar kach yiklot. but rather he must have invited the guests already and then afterwards gather it up. Ve'ein ma'arimin b'chach. And he should not be using trickery in this situation. Mishum Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Yehuda. As stated by Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Yehuda, Amru ma'arimin, who does say that it's permissible to use trickery. So the Gemara asks, Lema beplugta the Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yehoshua kamiflagei? Are we saying that this argument is based on an earlier argument of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yehoshua? The Tanya, where it's taught in the Braita, Oto ve'ed bano shenaflu labor. Okay, if it's a animal and the progeny of the animal has fallen into a pit, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Ma'alet Harishon. Rabbi Eliezer says that one can raise up the first animal, Almanat L'Shochto, on the supposition, on the condition, on the, what we might say, on the, on the rationale that he was going to slaughter it. V'hasheni oselo parnasa bimkomo b'shvil shelo yamut. And then the second animal, he could sell it, okay, so that he doesn't lose any money on it, lest the animal die. Rabbi Yehoshua Omer, says Rabbi Yehoshua, ma'alin et harishon, that he can pull up the first, and this of course, remember on Shabbat, okay, pull up the first animal, or Yom Tov really, al-manat l'shochto, okay, on the supposed plan to slaughter it, ve'eno shochto, but then he can decide not to slaughter it, uma'arim, and sort of use subterfuge, trickery, uma'alet hasheni, and then bring up the second animal, ratzah zeh, if he wants this one, shochet, he could slaughter it, ratzah zeh, shochet, or if he wants this one, he could slaughter it. Mimai, based on what? Dilma adkan lo ka'ama Rabbi Eliezer hatam. Perhaps, says the Gemara, that in that case, Rabbi Eliezer didn't say, okay, here, in the case of a barrel, right, the efshar b'parnasa. Maybe he didn't give his answer there because there was no way of gaining funds for it. Aval hacha. But here, okay, right? I mean, there in the case of the animal, that was his argument, okay? Because there was a way of parnasah. But here in the case of the barrel, okay, the lo afshar, where it's not possible to gain any monetary advantage, lo, not. Va'ad kan, lo ka'amar Rabbi Yehoshua. And up to this point, okay, Rabbi Yehoshua didn't put forward his statement. Okay, why? Hatam mishum de'ikat tsar ba'alei chayim. He used permitted subterfuge because there he was concerned with the welfare of the animal. Aval hacha. But here in the case of the barrel, delekat tsar ba'alei chayim, where there is no concern for the welfare of the animal, no, he wouldn't permit it. Now, a new Braita. Tana Rabbanan. Okay, we come to the following Braita. Okay, it says as follows. Hitzil pat nikia. One can save fine bread or bread made from fine flour. Ein matzil pat hadra'ah. But one cannot save bread from inferior or coarse flour. Pat hadra'ah. Okay, we say inferior bread. matzil pat nikia, that he can save fine floured bread. Umatzilin miyom hakippurim. Okay, but what we're saying is here, okay, that we can save it on Yom Kippur, okay, when Yom Kippur is on Friday, okay, and therefore save it for Shabbat. Okay, in other words, if there is a problematic situation, okay, but, okay, avalo mishabat liyom hakippurim, but we cannot save bread, okay, that was baked for Shabbat and then save it for the next day, if Yom Kippur starts Saturday night and Sunday, to be used after Yom Kippur. Okay, ve'ein sarich lomar mishabat liyom tov, and we certainly don't have to say saving it from Shabbat to Yom Tov, v'lo mishabat l'Shabbat haba'ah, nor could we say from one Shabbat to the next Shabbat. Okay, now Gemara continues with a new Braita. Tanu Rabbanan, says this Braita. Shachach pat betanor. Let's say that somebody was baking bread on Friday, okay, and they forgot to take it out in time for Shabbos, right? V'kadish alav hayom, and Shabbos started already, okay, when they realized, oh, okay, I've got this bread in the oven. Matzilin mazon shalosh seudot, says the Braita, okay, that we can save, okay, this says we can save food for 3 days. Right? V'omer la'acherim, and he can say to others, Bo'u v'hitzilu lachem, come and help save this bread. Ukashahu rodeh, okay, and when it comes time to remove the bread, right, what happens? Lo yirdeh b'marda'a ela b'saki. He cannot remove the bread using what we might call a baker's paddle, okay? Similar to what I'm sure we've all seen, you know, like the paddle that pizza, sometimes they use, you know, to put pizza in and out of an oven. They did the same thing with bread then, okay? But he must scrape it off the side of the oven with a knife. Aini, is that so? Asks the Gemara. Vahat Tana debe Rabbi Yishmael. But here it was taught, okay, in the academy of Rabbi Yishmael, right, the following. Lo ta'aseh kol melacha. It says you shall not do any kind of work. Yatzat kiat shofar, with the exception of blowing the shofar, or the ad hapat shehi chachma, or removing bread, which is it requires a certain kind of a skill or special art, right? Ve'ena melacha, and therefore it's not considered regular work, right? Kama de'efshar l'shenuye mishanin, answers the Gemara. The more possible we are to do it in a different manner, that's how indeed we should do it. Now, Amar Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda says as follows: La'olam, okay, a brand new idea, still keeping with the idea of preparations for Shabbat. Okay? Says Rav Chisda, La'olam yashkim adam lahotzaat Shabbat. A person should get up early, he says, in order to make preparations for the Shabbat. Okay? Shneamar, as it says, V'haya b'yom hashishi v'heichinu et asher yaviu, okay, la'altar. Okay? So basing the pasuk says he shall come on the 6th day and prepare that which he can bring in. Okay? And the message is immediately. In other words, early in the morning, start one's preparations for Shabbos. Amar Rav Abba, says Rav Abba, b'Shabbat excuse me, chayav adam livtsoa al shtei kikarot, that on a person, on Shabbat, sorry, a person is required to break bread on 2 loaves, if you will, or okay, 2 sections, right? Double portion. Dichtiv lechem mishneh. Why? Because it's written twice as much bread. Okay. Amar Rav Ashi, says Rav Ashi, Chazina le Rav Kahana. I happened to see him, Rav Kahana, Denakat tarte ubatse chada, that he took 2 loaves, but split only 1. Amar liktu. Why? Because it says in the plural, you should take ktiv. That's what it's written. Rabbi Zera, hava batza akula shirute. Rav Zera used to break off enough bread from 1 loaf in order to satisfy all the bread he needs for the entire meal. Next, Amarle Ravina the Rav Ashi. Says Ravina the Rav Ashi, Vaha Mahaze Kira'a Tunata. Wouldn't he be seen then as some sort of a glutton? Right? Ra'av Tunuta. Amarle, he said to him, Kevan de Kol Yoma Lo Avid, since every day he did not do that, Vaha'idna Udika Avid, and this day, in other words, on Shabbat, that was his practice, to break enough bread to satisfy for the entire meal, Lo Mechaze Kira'av Tanuta. He doesn't appear to be gluttonous. New statement. Rabbi Ami, Rabbi Asi, Ki mikle laho rifta de eruva. Okay, Rab Ami and Rab Asi, when they would come and have the bread from the eruv, sharu eluye. Okay, they would begin their eating with that bread. In other words, they put that aside for Shabbat, and then they would use that bread as part of their meal for Suda Shlishit. Amre, O'il vehi abeda ba chada mitzvah, and they would say, since we use that for 1 mitzvah, litabid ba mitzvah achrina, let us use it for another mitzvah. Okay. Now, Ketzad nafla deleka. So the Gemara asks, what happens then if the fire breaks out? Right? Tanu Rabbanan, the Braita teaches, Kama su'udot chayav adam le'achol b'Shabbat. Remember, it said depending on when the fire occurs, one could only bring 3 meals worth, 2 meals worth, or 1 meal's worth. So the Gemara is asking, based on the Braita, how many meals is one expected to have on Shabbat? Shalosh, 3. Rabbi Chidka Omer Arba. Rabbi Chidka says 4 meals. Okay, we're going to see what the difference is shortly. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ushnehem Mikra Echad Darshan. And the 2 of them, okay, the rabbis and Rabbi Chidka, all darshan the same pasuk. Okay, Vayomer Moshe Achluhu Hayom, eat it today. Ki Shabbat Hayom Lashem, because today is a Sabbath day to Hashem. Hayom Lo Timtzaehu Basadeh. Today you will not find it in the field. Okay, so what happens? Okay, Rabbi Chidka Sava. Rabbi Chidka was of the opinion, Hani Tlata Hayom, since the pasuk says 3 times Hayom, Levar Me'orta. That's with the exclusion of at night. Okay, so therefore 4 meals of Shabbat. In other words, right? V'Rabbanan Savrei Bahade de Orcha. And the rabbis held, however, that they included that of the evening. Okay. So the question might be here, are they talking about the meal on Motzei Shabbat? That seems to be the question. Right? Tznan. It was taught, however, in another Mishnah. Naflad leika b'leilei Shabbat. If a fire broke out on the eve of Shabbat, we'll just go over a tiny bit. Matzilin mazon shalosh seudot. One should save enough foodstuffs for 3 meals. What are we talking about? Lav de lo achal. Does this mean that did the fire occur and didn't he already eat? Lo, he didn't eat yet? No, says the Gemara, da'achal, that he ate. Shacharit, and when it says in the morning, matzilin mazon shtei seudot, that he saves enough foodstuffs for 2 meals. Lav de lo, wasn't it not the lo achal, right? Then he didn't eat yet? Achal, that he ate. Lo da'achal, no, indeed he ate. B'mincha, matzilin mazon seuda achat, in the afternoon that he saves enough food for 1 food. Again, ma'i lav, was it not the lo achal, that he did not eat? Lo da'achal, no, that he ate. Okay? And so that's where we're going to stop right there. Okay? And the Gemara is then going to pick up and tell us more about this whole statement, as it says, V'hami de Katani Sefer, as said, Rabbi Yossi Omer le'olam matzilin mazon shalosh su'udot, that one saves enough food for 3 meals. Okay? And that's where we'll pick up tomorrow. Okay?
Thank you.
Rabbi.
Yes.
Yeah, what about, they didn't, with the animals falling in, what about, I had it in my head a minute ago. Tabalei Chaim.
Well, that was one of the arguments. That's what Rabbi Yehuda used as his rationale to say you could use subterfuge to pull the second animal out. Okay, by saying maybe you're going to change your mind and say, instead of having slaughtering the mother cow and leaving the calf in the pit, okay, I might decide instead I'll slaughter the calf instead and use that. So that was his rationale.
And what about Hefsed Maruba?
Well,
you have to wait for later.
Right, so that was the example of the opposite perspective, so that the person wouldn't lose money. Okay, he couldn't pull the animal out, but at least he could sell it to somebody and say, fine, pay me the money. You now own the animal, and therefore you have the right to pull that animal out in that case. So either way, all right, that was the implication.
Okay.
Good question, Erwin.
Okay. Have a good day.
Everybody take care.
Thank you. Have a good day. Be well, everyone.
Stay well.
We got this.